Greetings, sailors, and welcome back to World of Warships. And the ship that I kind of forgot about, and I think maybe some other people did as well, the Stored 43, which was the end of the, well, is still, for like another day or two as of recording, the end of the Christmas holiday track, whatever you want to call it, the thingy. Battle Pass? Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Lots of people, of course, got themselves the Scharnhorst 43, but for this, well, you need to fork out some doubloons. Is it worth it? Arguably, yes and no. It's a cheap Tier 7 premium destroyer, but the cheap Tier 7 premium destroyer you're getting is distinctly unremarkable. It is basically stored, the Tier 6 tech tree ship bumped up a tier, and some of the stats are bumped up as well, including, unfortunately, its detectability. It actually gains 500 meters. 6.3 would be pretty decent at Tier 7, but it jumps to a rather horrible 6.8, which puts it on a par with, well, Bliskovica, I think Mayhan. Has Mayhan got 6.6, 6.8? I don't know. It's on the fuzzy end of Tier 7. They did give you longer range torpedoes though. They're the same torpedoes, they're still incredibly weak, in fact they're even weaker at Tier 7, but they now have actually quite respectable 10 kilometer range, and they still retain a fairly fast 80 knots, well that's a very fast 80 knots. Your main battery range is also a little bit longer, less than a kilometer, but it still jumps up a little bit. And finally you have more hit points. And that's about it. It is basically a fairly lazy copy-paste. It's not even really trying to lean into a slightly different aspect of play style as they did with the Scharnhorst 43, where they were like, well, what if we make it a bit more brawling focused? And like I said in that video, I feel they could have gone further than they did. But with this, yeah, it really does just feel like a copy-paste. At least it was this way round. At least this wasn't the free ship, and the Scharnhorst was the paid ship. I would have, I think, been much more critical of that. But still, they could have done something better or more interesting here. They really could have. So let's give it a go in battle. Let's see how it plays. So wonderfully, we've jumped straight into a Tier 9 game with carriers. The concealment is going to obviously be something of an issue. This is also another stored on the team. I think that's the first one I've encountered one in the wild. The first time I've encountered one in the wild. We've got Bliskovica on the enemy team as well, which is as bad in terms of its concealment. Vakalan, I actually can't remember, but it's probably nearly as bad. I should have also mentioned in port, you do have different consumables as well. You've got a heal and a smoke generator, which is, well, the heal's definitely different. So you've got more survivability than just the hit points would suggest. But whether it's going to be enough to truly keep you alive, who knows. You are lacking, of course, speed boost, so yeah, this might be one where having the Swift in Silence skill does come in useful. I don't tend to take it on that many destroyers. I tend to take it on the sneaky destroyers because you're going to get more use out of it. Whereas when you have 6.8 concealment, it's going to be a lot harder to have it consistently be useful. In fact, the one I've found it most useful on is the Mutsuki of all things, with its 5.4 concealment, and the fact that it's already got a pretty high base speed. You can be zooming around in the Mutsuki at 40 plus knots when you're unspotted, and then you stick the speed boost on top of that. Mutsuki is a ridiculous little speedboat at Tier 5, although of course it does also have absolutely dreadfully crap firepower. It really does go all in on relying on its torpedoes. So, I guess we'll just fire off some torps. Given how rubbish the damage is, it's a full minute and a half reload. It's not great. It's really not great. These are I tend to refer to the weaker torpedoes as ticklers, so I guess these are Norwegian ticklers for a change rather than Swedish ticklers. But yeah, it's not going to be like one-shotting anybody unless they're already very low health. You might smack enough into a destroyer to take them out in one go, but I wouldn't count on it necessarily. The cargo's been spotted, but we haven't actually seen any planes so far. I'm just going to lurk around this cap a little bit first. There's every chance I get spotted first, and I've only got 3 smokes, so I'm going to have to be careful. I don't know if I've got Superintendent on this captain. As you can see, it was the guy whose name I don't think I ever get right, but Swirsky, who does have some special skills, but yeah, I don't know if I did take Superintendent. Okay, there's the Vauclair. Actually, I've got my AA turned on. I should probably turn that off. It's not one of those ones where the AA is shorter than your aerial detectability. Sometimes it's a bit confusing because some destroyers I'll load into battle and I've got to double check because, oh, I left my AA turned off, but then it's like, you know, your AA range is it's not gonna, you know, you can leave it turned on because it's not gonna, by the time you detect it, they're already in AA range or about to be in AA range. Right, let us, oh, game didn't log on. Let us see what we do here. We do have a decent rate of fire. And I would like for this guy to sink. That would be quite useful. And I would also definitely like to grab this thing. And I'm in the position of there's not really a lot of enemy ships that else I have to worry about right now. He's going for it too. He might grab it before I do, unfortunately. But I'm also in the position of not having people available to help me. Oh, he's going to grab it, he's going to grab it. That's unfortunate, he's faster than I am. But you can see the heal is giving me an endurance here. And hopefully once I sink him I can, if I can sink him I can smoke. I might just have to smoke here. Oh, that got me. Okay, I thought I had enough health there, but that did not work out. That did absolutely not work out. Alas. It was a 1 versus 1 there. I did get a bit of fire coming in from the side, but yeah. Oh well, sometimes it works out that way. We'll hop into another battle rather than watching the outcome of this one. That was some fairly aggressive manoeuvring, all things considered, trying to grab that heal, but sometimes grabbing the first heal can be fairly decisive, or at least fairly helpful, but it was not to be. It was not to be. Those French guns proved to be a bit too painful. Anyway, we have better matchmaking this time, but still CVs and still subs. Quite a lot of divisions in this one as well. It's interesting. So we're facing this time just stealthier opponents all round. Cossack and Kid also much stealthier than I am, so we'll be a lot more cautious this time. We won't be quite as aggressive. We don't need to be as aggressive, at least not to begin with. This might also be worth having its own specialised captain, to be honest. I mean, usually one of the advantages of premium ship is you can put any suitable captain in, or well, just any captain really. It's one of the advantages I enjoy in this game over World of Tanks. I mean, I'm almost tempted to do a wrap-up video of my my thoughts of coming back and playing World of Tanks for a month over December, but yeah, being able to be so flexible with your captains in comparison to the crews in World of Tanks, it's quite useful and it's quite handy, and it makes the premiums It honestly gives the premiums more value in warships than it does in World of Tanks, I think. But yeah, the downside is sometimes you end up with premiums that do kind of end up needing their own specialised crew because they or their own specialised captain, because they don't really quite fit with the ships of the main branch. And even though this is a bit of a copy paste, it might be worth having it be a bit more of a specialised captain compared to well, just what I have for Swieski anyway, which again I have butchered, and I can only profoundly apologise to any Poles who might be watching this. Hey, at least I'm not having to try and say Brushkiskivitz. God, that name. Anyway, yeah, I'm convinced Poland's just trolling. I'm convinced that guy didn't actually exist, and Poland is just trolling everybody and making us say a name just for funsies. I'm going to get so many comments now, aren't I? Or at least some comments. Right, yeah, that's not worth dropping on any of these, is it? You can't just... I mean, if I was in... what's the tier 7? The Scorner. If I was in the Scorner, I'd be spamming torpedoes happily all over the place. Which don't have quite the range, but they do have a better reload. You don't generally tend to need to specialise for torpedo reload in your European destroyers, but yeah, given that it's a minute and a half, it might be worth taking that as a skill. I may do that. I may, if we do a third battle. In fact, we will do a third battle because that first one ended rather quickly. We may actually plonk a different captain in and see how that goes. Right, I don't think they have a destroyer here. I think the Kagaras are divvied up. The Udachi's divvied up with the Nagato. So they've both gone. I think the Kagaras have. Oh no, they've actually gone C and B, and I'm spotted, and I don't know what by. It could be the destroyer. I don't fancy going closer to find out. It could be destroyer, it could be the submarine is what I mean. But yeah, here's where the lack of speed boost is. Yeah, and Swift in Silence wouldn't really help you there. Not even slightly. So even with the extra 10 kilometers, oh, it's the Udachi. Okay, even with the 10 kilometers of torpedo range, the worst concealment is sort of negating that to some extent because you are so easily outspotted. You're doing better than a lot of other tier 7 destroyers though, which have worse range on their torpedoes, and where dropping torpedoes becomes an even riskier proposition. Good news is I can definitely outgun a Udachi. Bad news is they have friends, and I'm not sure I approve of them having friends. That's not allowed. Right, well, that immediately got us unspotted though.
Problem solved, sir.
But torpedoes away. I think we're going to have to back off this cap. They are being fairly aggressive here. I should have spread those torpedoes a bit more. Although, if you spread the torpedoes a bit more, then you have the disadvantage of one torpedo hit's not going to do it. You need multiple torpedo hits. Oh, and too close to that. Novorossiysk. Yeah, I need to turn away. I kind of don't want to use a smoke for just that. Ooh. I will have to use a heal though. Have I got... yeah, I do. Adrenaline rush on this captain. Good to know. Yeah, depth charges don't work. You still see people do that a surprising amount. And the depth charge planes do... Like, if your AA starts firing at the depth charge planes, it doesn't get you spotted, so I'm not sure why people do that, but they do. Right, we kind of need to hold on to this cap. I maybe could go back through into the cap and try and drop on the Richelieu. Sort of awkward trying to do drops here because we're right up against the border. People are going to be manoeuvring, so it's sort of hard to predict exactly what people are going to be doing. Yeah, let's go and try and drop on the Richelieu. We could. I mean, if we got a bit closer, we could try smoking up and pew-pewing at people, but that runs the risk of attracting torpedoes into my smoke. Right, the Richelieu's just kind of nosying around. I will say this is like the Scharnhorst. I've seen people playing it in a fairly, I don't know, I don't want to say newbie manner, that sounds very judgmental, but like the fact that it's tier 7, it's not that hard to get to tier 7, so I would guess, I don't know, but maybe there's people that haven't played, that are playing it that don't have otherwise that many tier 7s or higher tier ships than that, but I've seen people doing some silly things in Scharnhorst 43s, but at least it's not the pattern tank from World of Tanks, which was yeah, it's objectively a bad tank. Wargaming decided they were just going to give everyone a really bad tier 9 for World of Tanks. Not entirely sure why. Not even a premium, it's just a really bad tier 9 medium tank. We are definitely better off in World of Warships than we are in World of Tanks this winter. Right, oh no, you just immediately popped out. Well, that was a little unfortunate. Right, we might come to a sticky end here. We've got good firepower, but he's got... like, I can out-reload this guy, but of course those Japanese 127s do actually hit reasonably hard. People underestimate the Japanese 5-inch guns. They don't tend to think of them as being that dangerous, but actually they really can be. Yeah, I don't know, a bunch of people died, and the Yumari's running away, Fuso ran away, or losing control of the caps. We've only killed one ship. I don't know if we're going to win this game, to be honest. This is not looking great. Anyway, I'm going to go back to port again rather than sit and watch this one, because I don't think we're winning that. And I'm just going to quickly spec out a more specialised captain, even if we don't necessarily get the benefits of Mr. Swirsky. Again, that wasn't even nearly correct. I heard it there. That wasn't even slightly at all correct. Also, that is with Superintendent, so okay, you only get 2 base charges. Anyway, let's do that. So here's what I'm going to try. Not too different. Mainly it's fill the tubes that's the extra thing. If I had the extra points, I'd possibly take Swift Fish, although that's always useful on a destroyer, or maybe the extra fire chance, Demo Expert, or a bit of extra smoke time. I don't know, there's things I could do with that last 2 points. It doesn't necessarily have to be extra torpedo speed, actually. That's maybe a little redundant when they're already very fast. But yeah, 81 seconds reload. We probably do need the extra hit points from Survivability Expert, and yeah, it's mainly just a bit of extra torpedo reload. So let's give that a go. Let's see how we do. And again, an aircraft carrier. Okay. Alright, few destroys this time. Again, tier 8 matchmaking, so that's okay. I think both Eigler and Akatsuki definitely outspots me. Eigler will almost certainly outspot me. Or is it the same? 6.8? I don't know. Eigler doesn't have the reload booster, but of course it does have smoke as well. And those French 139 mils do hit fairly hard, so we have to be a little careful. I definitely out-reload it. I mean, the base 3.7 seconds is pretty decent. You can take the captain's skill and get that down to like 3.5, but Adrenaline Rush is probably better overall, because you'll almost certainly go down below 3.5 using Adrenaline Rush. So this is a standard game. We can be, well, we don't have to be concerned about guarding cap points quite so much, so yeah. It's not like I was trying to be more aggressive last time, it's just maybe I wasn't paying quite enough attention to the fact my support was evaporating. And yeah, I didn't read the room, I didn't make a getaway as soon as I could, and not having a speed boost is definitely a disadvantage there. You have to pay more attention than I was and make that getaway sooner, because you don't have that extra kick of bravely Sir Robining away. Yes, that's definitely the phrase. Yes, that's definitely a well-known phrase in English. So what else do we have to well, that was English. Also, what else do we have to worry about? We've got a Baltimore. I think that's about it, as long as I'm not wandering too close to Baltimore's radar, which should be good. I don't typically take the reload boost on
Torpedoes to starboard.
the Swedish ships, but yeah, I kind of feel like it might be. I mean, you could lean more into the guns. You could get that 3.5 base rate of fire and have Adrenaline Rush as well. Right, Baltimore's coming this way. Let's put out torpedoes, which may or may not do a thing. I don't know. I guess we'll see. We know where the Akatsuki is, we know where the Eaglet is, so the only real worry at the moment is planes. As long as we don't wander too close enough to trigger that that Baltimore's radar. Ooh. Oh, that just missed. We're going to hit the Balti. Can we get one? Well, there you go. Of course, even with it being a piddly amount of damage, it's even less damage when you take into consideration where you're hitting the ship and, of course, torpedo mitigation. And that's not even just the inbuilt torpedo mitigation that you get on ships these days. You get skills on different classes as well. I mean, battleship captains definitely get a skill to mitigate torp damage. I don't think cruiser captains do. Anyway, I am definitely, like, even though it's like not even quite 10 seconds, I think it's enough to be noticeable. 80 seconds versus 90 seconds is it's enough that you do, like, you feel it, if that makes any difference. Is that my first torpedo hit I've landed in the last couple of battles? I think it might be. Right, Akatsuki. If I can engage Akatsuki in a way where the Baltimore can't hit me, I would be fine with that. I do seem to notice that everybody's over here, so I guess it behooves me to try and spot things. Oh, nice, there's another torpedo. That must have been the destroyer. Which is useful. It means any pew-pew engagement we get into, I'm going into it with a hit points advantage. So it's a little risky opening fire right now, but I'm taking them out of the equation. I think it's worth a temporary risk. Nice. Might make their carrier a bit more wary of me though. The Baltimore is damaged, though. If we can get this massive ships to finish off the Baltimore, that would be good. I am slightly worried about this other flank, though. We literally only have a Ramat guarding things. Oh, there's the I-56. Which has just shotgunned the Ramat, of course. Which is totally a healthy bit of gameplay to have. Totally a fun and engaging interaction. Right, I do not know what this Fuso is doing. I'm not entirely sure I know what the teammates are doing either. We'll go for the Fuso because they're more broadside, but we might clip one of those into the Shaklov as well. Yeah, there we go, we're being capped. So I guess I'm going to head back to the cap circle. I think we're still very much firmly in holiday mode as far as some of the team's quality goes. Did they kill the Baltimore? No, they did not. Okay. This is obviously all going super swimmingly. As you can tell, not exactly great AA. Yeah. I guess we'll try and get back to the cap, but I don't think we're going to make a difference. Like, we seem to have very few other people reacting at the moment. But I mean, even though this has not been a particularly successful series of games, are we even going to get back there before we get capped? I don't think so. It's maybe shown some of the qualities of this ship. Like, even as a cheap tier 7 premium, it's a little hard to recommend it if you're on the fence about dropping down some doubloons. I don't think you'd do it for this. I think you would do it for the extra tickets that you might get for some, well, not free boxes at that point, but cheaper boxes. Yeah, I'm not going to get there in time, am I? No, okay, oh well. It's sort of the vague equivalent of... I did actually have one of those games on mines in World of Tanks where one team capped the other team. In fact, I was on the winning team, and that was no less frustrating. But yeah, I think one tank got killed and everybody had really rubbish scores. So this was about the equivalent of that. Although half our team had died and we'd only taken down one enemy ship that I'd killed, so I don't think we were going to win this one. Even if our team had been a little more on the ball. I think we'd lost too many ships at this point. So yeah, this is a thoroughly lackluster ship. There are much better tier 7 premiums, premium destroyers, but you're not going to get them as cheaply as this one. So yeah, unless you're a real completionist, it's kind of hard to recommend this. If you want an actual fun tier 7 premium destroyer to play, I mean, Cossack is always kind of the not Cossack, Huron. Cossack's a tier 8, isn't it? Huron's always the kind of go-to recommendation. But Haida, no, Haida I meant rather than Huron. Huron's alright as well, but Haida's the go-to for tier 7. Bushkovica is probably more fun for firepower, although the torpedoes are not quite as long range. Tashkent is kind of okay to run around in. Z39's okay. Yudachi's got the torpedoes. Sims has got the better XP modifiers. Leningrad's fast and has good guns. It's a sort of reasonably competitive market in terms of tier 7 Prem destroyers, and Stored is not great. Stored kind of sits down at the bottom end, I think. I think Stored is going to be one you don't see people playing very often, even if they did buy it. Much like FR25, another one you don't see very often. Although, to be honest, FR25 is probably better than Stored. So, there you go. This is not an easy one to recommend unless you're a real completionist or you just absolutely must have a cheap tier 7. I mean, it's just the nature of it. It's not even good for operations. it doesn't really have the set of qualities that you would want for a destroyer in operations, which is either very, very good guns, long-lasting smoke, or quick reloading torpedoes. Doesn't really have any of those. Well, it does have the very good guns, but not really enough to survive. Like, you kind of want the good long-lasting smoke in conjunction with the good guns is kind of what I was going for there. So you can sit and pew things for a long time. This doesn't really have that ability. The smoke is sort of fairly average. So yeah, it's kind of a lazy one, to be honest. I'm not impressed with it, and the good news is you can just skip it if you haven't decided to skip it already. So yeah, there you go. Stored 43. Bit of an afterthought, both in terms of me remembering to do the video and the actual ship itself. It really does feel like they just wanted a bit of filler for that holiday battle pass, and this is what we got. Thoroughly forgettable. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you found it useful, and if you did, you can do all the usual things down underneath it, and of course, as always, stay tuned for more.